A man pleads guilty to SA-ing Cindy Clemisher in the 80s. He serves 6 months in jail. He walks out, and then, before the dust has even settled, court documents confirm he and the church he founded have quietly ended a legal fight over a multi-million-dollar retirement payout. No press release, no statement, no explanation of what either side actually agreed to. Just a filing, a signature, and silence. That man is Robert Morris. The church is Gateway Church in Southlake, Texas, and this story is far from over. For anyone catching up, Robert Morris was not just a pastor. He was the founder of Gateway Church, one of the largest megachurches in the United States, based in Southlake, Texas. At its peak, Gateway had tens of thousands of members and was pulling in over $100 million annually in donations. Morris built an empire: books, speaking tours, a national platform. Then, in June 2024, a woman named Cindy Clemisher came forward publicly with allegations that Robert Morris had SA'd her starting when she was preteen in the 1980s. She said the SA lasted more than 4 years. Morris initially responded by referring to Clemisher as a young lady, a framing that drew immediate criticism for minimizing the gravity of what she described. Facing mounting public pressure, Morris resigned from Gateway Church in June 2024. What happened next is where this story gets complicated, and it's exactly what we're talking about today. But before we get to the settlement, I need you to understand what was actually being fought over in this lawsuit, because the numbers involved are staggering, and there's a detail buried in the court filings that tells you everything you need to know about how Robert Morris responded to the worst moment of his church's history. After Clemisher went public, Oklahoma prosecutors moved quickly. In March 2025, a multi-county grand jury indicted Morris on 5 charges that each carried a maximum sentence of 20 years. At the time, he was facing up to 100 years in prison. Then, in October 2025, Robert Morris pleaded guilty. 5 counts. He was sentenced to 10 years in the Osage County Jail in Oklahoma, but it was structured as a 6-month active sentence followed by 9.5 years on probation. He was also ordered to pay Cindy Clemisher $270,000 in restitution, and he was placed on the Texas SEX offender registry permanently. He was released from jail in March 2026, less than 2 months ago. 2 months out of jail. And this week, court documents confirm his civil lawsuit against Gateway Church has been settled and dismissed. Now, here is where we need to talk about what Robert Morris was actually asking for. Because this is the part of the story that, once you hear it, you will not forget. Just 3 months after his resignation, while criminal charges were still pending, Morris's attorney sent a letter to Gateway Church's lawyers with a series of financial demands. According to court documents, those demands included over $1 million in accrued retirement savings he claimed were owed to him immediately, $800,000 per year, every year, until he turned 70, and then $600,000 per year for the rest of his life. And if he died first, those payments would continue to his wife Debbie for the rest of her life. Do the math. If either of them lives into their early 80s, that total approaches $16 million. $16 million. From a church that was collecting over $100 million a year from its congregation. Now, Morris's attorneys argued that church elders had verbally promised him this package, that it was an oral commitment made to him by leadership, and crucially, they argued that when he was pushed to resign in June 2024, he specifically asked and was assured, quote, that he would receive his retirement benefits, but that the church may need to get creative with how he was going to be paid. His legal team argued that Morris would not have agreed to the resignation if those assurances hadn't been made. Gateway Church's response? They said no. And they said it publicly. The church released a statement calling his claims false and saying they, quote, do not reflect accountability for the impact of his actions on the community. In a court filing, church lawyers put it even more bluntly. They wrote that, quote, amid the chaos his conduct had unleashed on Gateway and his community, Morris was laser-focused on securing his financial future. And there was one more document that muddied everything. According to a written retirement compensation agreement included in the court filings, the church's actual signed obligation was $170,000 per year for 20 years. And that agreement included a provision. The retirement benefit was not payable if Morris was fired or resigned for failing to adhere to church policies and causing harm to the church. So you had Morris claiming a verbal promise of $800,000 a year, the church pointing to a written agreement saying $170,000 and a provision that could arguably cancel the benefit entirely given the circumstances. This was not a simple dispute. The lawsuit filed in Tarrant County wasn't simply about the money. It became a fight over how to even have the fight. Morris wanted private arbitration, specifically a Christian arbitrator operating under rules from the International Christian Concern. Behind closed doors, Gateway Church wanted the dispute heard in open court, in front of a judge. On the record, in July 2025, both sides appeared before a Tarrant County judge who told them to stop arguing about the process and try to reach an agreement and come back in 30 days. At that hearing, an attorney from Morris was asked whether the two sides could realistically agree on an arbitrator. His answer, reportedly, was that there was not a snowball's chance. And yet, somehow, the case is now over. So here's what the settlement actually says. And this is the detail I told you to pay attention to. The court filing is called an agreed order dismissing proceeding. It says the case is dismissed without prejudice. Both parties bear their own legal costs. There is no indication in the filing whether Robert Morris and his wife Debbie will receive any compensation from Gateway Church. None. The settlement terms, if any money changed hands, are not disclosed in the public record. CBS News Texas reached out to both Gateway and Morris's attorney, and neither responded. Without prejudice means either party could theoretically refile. Whether this was a quiet settlement with a confidential payment or simply both sides walking away, we genuinely do not know. What we do know is this ended privately, quickly, and with no public accountability. But here's the thing. This settlement, this is just one of 4 active legal cases surrounding Robert Morris and Gateway Church right now. And the others are not going quietly. Let's walk through what's still pending, because the legal landscape here is significant. Case 1. The Clemisher defamation lawsuit. Cindy Clemisher and her father filed a $1 million defamation suit in Dallas County against Morris, his wife Debbie, Gateway Church, current and former elders, and a church staff member. They alleged the church downplayed and mischaracterized the SA she suffered. 2 former Gateway elders tried to have themselves dismissed from the suit. A Texas judge denied that in February 2026. The Fifth Court of Appeals also denied a rehearing request from Morris and his wife. As of now, a trial is set for June 2026. That's next month. Case 2. The Insurance Dispute Church Mutual Insurance Company, described as America's leading insurer of religious organizations, has asked a federal court in Dallas to declare it has no duty to defend or indemnify Gateway Church or Robert Morris in the Clemisher defamation suit. Their argument, their policies with the church only began in December 2023, and the SA occurred starting in 1982. The insurer does not believe it should foot the bill for conduct that predates its coverage by 4 decades. A Dallas judge paused proceedings on this case in March 2026 while the appeals court makes its determination. Case 3. The class action lawsuit. From former members. This one is perhaps the most far-reaching. 4 former church members filed a federal class action suit accusing Gateway and its leadership of misrepresenting how donations were used. Specifically, the claim that 15% of all tithe dollars would go to global missions and Jewish ministry partners. The plaintiffs allege that Morris himself stated the church was giving $20 to $25 million per year to global missions. But a former CPA who worked inside the church says he never witnessed more than $3 million annually going to global missions. That same CPA says he flagged financial irregularities internally, was told leadership was aware, and ultimately resigned rather than be part of those irregularities. In September 2025, a judge denied Gateway's motion to dismiss this case. The church had argued it was protected from scrutiny by the ecclesiastical abstention doctrine, a First Amendment principle shielding religious institutions from government interference in matters of faith and internal governance. The judge said Gateway hadn't proven that the spending decisions in question were protected religious doctrine. That case moves forward. I want to step back for a moment, because it would be easy to reduce this to a story about one man's audacity. And yes, the audacity is staggering. A man pleads guilty to SA-ing Cindy, walks out of jail, and one of the first things resolved publicly is his financial dispute with the institution that gave him a platform for decades. But this story is really about something larger. It's about the systems that protected him. The elders who, according to his own attorney's filings, may have known about the SA for nearly 2 decades before Cindy Clemisher went public. It's about a church that was collecting over $100 million a year from faithful donors, some of whom are now in federal court alleging that money was misrepresented and misused. It's about what happens when accountability inside a religious institution fails completely, and the legal system becomes the only mechanism left. Cindy Clemisher is still in court, still fighting, with a defamation trial approaching in June. The retirement lawsuit settled. Terms unknown. Both sides walked away with their own legal bills and no public explanation. The criminal case resolved. Morris is out of jail, on probation for 9.5 years, permanently on the Texas sex offender registry. 3 other lawsuits are still active, including a defamation trial with a June 2026 date on the calendar. We will keep watching this. Every development, every filing. If this story matters to you, subscribe so you don't miss the next update. Drop a comment below. Do you think Gateway Church made the right call settling this privately? Or should this have played out in open court? Share this video with someone who needs to know what's happening here, because this story is not over, not even close.